All right, hello guys. So before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to let you know that this week I'm currently enrolling for my 28-day Mountain Strong Ankle Challenge. Now specifically, I'm looking for hikers who struggle with recurring ankle sprains or ankle rolls on the trail, for hikers who deal with mild ankle discomfort on longer days of hiking, or for hikers who are preparing for a particularly rough and challenging trail and they want to give themselves the best chance at getting through that comfortably. Now, if you fall into any of those categories and you're thinking now might be a good time to make a bit of a change to your ankles and get them strong, stable, and resilient, then I would absolutely love to hear from you. What I'd like you to do is just flick me an email to rowan@summitstrength.com.au with the words "tell me more." From there, we can have a little bit of a chat and just see if and how this challenge may be right for you. So if you were interested, flick me an email, rowan@summitstrength.com.au, and we can take it from there. So that's enough about that. Let's get into today's episode. All right, hello guys. Today we are talking about the difference between muscle and strength. And specifically, we're going to be diving into how this relates to our bodies as hikers, as we do age, as we do get a little bit older. Now, where I'm coming from with this today is over the last 2 weeks, I've had 3 separate conversations with different hikers around this particular subject. And there was a hiker who was, I think they were in their mid-50s, there was a hiker in their early 60s, and a hiker in their late 60s who each of them individually, we were chatting about their training, we were chatting about their hiking, the things they wanted to do. And they were saying, look, they're aware that, they want to get stronger on the trail. They want to sort of relieve aches and pains on the trail. And they want to make sure they're hiking for the next 10, 20, possibly 30 years and want to keep that going. And essentially each of them individually kind of said at some stage the statement around, look, I want to get stronger, but, I'm pretty aware that, I'm not sure if I can build muscle anymore. And, maybe I'm too old to build muscle or whatever it may be. And it was a bit of an eye-opener because I've heard this many times before, but to get it all three times in 2 weeks, it sort of was a bit of a kick in the bum to say, okay, this is probably worth doing an episode on, because I know a lot of people listening to this podcast probably going through similar things like that. I know they're probably thinking, like, not just saying, hey, I want to train for the next 3 months for one big adventure, but most of us are hikers are looking towards the next 10, 20, 30 years or whatever. We want to keep these things going, want to be getting out there and enjoying ourselves in one way, shape, or form for the rest of our lives, because probably most of us have seen the other end of the aging process where maybe people aren't super active and they don't really do so much, and you see them get old way before their time. But then on the other side of things, we've probably all seen this inspirational hiker at some stage of our life who's way older than us, but they're just still absolutely crushing it on the trail, and they're cruising along in their 70s or their 80s or whatever it may be. And, we probably have all seen that inspiration at some stage and thought, you know what, that's who I want to be. So essentially, getting back to the topic at hand, the difference between muscle and strength is essentially there is a lot of sort of debate, a lot of conflicting ideas, a lot of conflicting, voices in the world around the idea of muscle as we get older. Now, some people will say, look, there comes a certain point in our life where putting on muscle after a certain age is just not possible. And they'll say, you know what, no matter what you do, once you get past, say, 55 years, that's just a random number, it's impossible to put on muscle, and it's just not going to happen. Other people on the other end of things are saying, that's a load of bull. Like, you can put on muscle for your entire life. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there may be differences, but you can still put on muscle if you do the right things. And in all honesty, I'm not really going to weigh in on that debate. I don't think, it could go either direction, and it really comes down to the finicky stuff, and it's not super important. What is important is 2 aspects. Number 1, no matter what your age, it is certainly true that you can maintain the muscle that you have. If you do the right things, do the right training, eat the right food, whatever it may be, regardless of what end of the scale of that debate you're on, it is absolutely true that you can maintain the muscle that you have. So doing certain amounts of training will stop that muscle decay, which we all go through as we get older. And that is 100% true. You can maintain, or at the very, very least, slow down that decrease. But the more important thing, and the more important thing for hikers, that relevant for hikers who want to be strong, want to be comfortable on the trails for years and years and years and years to come, is even in worst case scenario, if muscle gain and even muscle maintenance may not be entirely possible as we get older and older and older, or maybe it is, who knows, but in the worst case scenario, even if it isn't possible, it is 100% possible that you can increase your strength. Now, I'll say that again. Even though gaining muscle may not be possible, in the worst case scenario, you can absolutely build and increase your strength. Because while more muscle on our body is typically, not always, but typically linked to more strength, having more strength is not always linked to having more muscle. Now, I'll say that again, I'll repeat that one more time, and then I'll explain what I mean. Having more muscle typically is linked to having more strength. But on the opposite end of things, having more strength is not always equal to having more muscle. Now, where this comes from is essentially when it comes to developing strength in the body, there's really two main pathways we can go about. Number one, we can literally put more muscle on our frame, meaning there's more muscle fibers to contract, to produce force, and that allows us to exert more strength in our movements, on our hiking, going up hills, whatever it may be. That is option number one. But option number two, and something that many people experience more and is much more significant for a hiker, is we can increase strength by improving what's called our neuromuscular efficiency, which is essentially the connection between our muscles and our brain. And by developing this efficiency, we can produce more force, we can be stronger, we can be happier on the trail, even if there's no change at all in our muscle. So it doesn't matter if you're in your 70s and you're doing this training and you're like, I'm never going to put muscle on. It doesn't matter because you can improve your strength. So how do you improve this neuromuscular efficiency? Well, it's nothing complicated. You don't have to be crazy about it. It's literally just strength training. Strength training, strength development, we all go through it. A large portion of us gaining strength is from this neuromuscular efficiency and is from the connection between our brains and our muscles. And we would have all experienced it at some stage or another. Maybe you've gone through a process of strength training and maybe you've done it for 4 or 5 or 6 weeks and you noticed, hey, I'm getting much stronger. I can move heavier weights. I can move my body more comfortably. I can do more repetitions or whatever you may be. And you may notice that you're getting stronger, but you haven't really noticed a difference in your body. And we've all gone through that at some stage or another. And that's literally you're improving your strength through those, neural pathways. And it's a large portion of all of our strength development. So when it comes down to it, as we are getting older, again, it doesn't matter around this debate around muscle. Yes, it'll be great if we could put more muscle on. It's not like we don't want to be bodybuilders, but more muscle is probably going to be good as we get older. It'd be great in that certain situation. But even if it's not possible, it doesn't matter. Because as long as you're doing the right things in your training, as long as you're putting some resistance through your body, as long as you're pushing yourself and giving yourself a little bit of stimulus as you move forward, you're going to get stronger. You're going to maintain that strength. You're going to keep yourself feeling comfortable, being able to exert force, exert strength. And ultimately on the trail, you're going to be feeling good that you can keep on going. And you're not going to be that guy that's, going up a steep hill and barely be able to get up the steps. You're not going to be that girl who throws on the load of pack and be absolutely crushed under the weight or whatever it may be. There's so many situations where strength is important on the trail, as we know. But as long as you're doing the right training, you can make those things very, very comfortable. So, moral of the story today. If you get caught up in this debate, do not worry. It's no big deal. Some people might be right, some people may be wrong. It doesn't matter to us. The important thing is, as we're getting older, we're keeping up our strength development, keeping up our strength training. So not only we can maintain what we have, but we can develop that strength and keep us moving forward. And if you are a bit of an older hiker and you haven't been doing training, but you're eyeing off this big adventure that you still want to do, maybe you got Keely on your bucket list still, maybe you want to do a big through hike when you first retire or whatever it may be, doesn't matter. Strength training at any age is going to help develop that strength. Simple as that. So, moral of the story, don't be stressed, don't be worried, just do the right things, apply your training, follow a structured program, and it will pay off, regardless of what age you're in. So I think that's probably enough about that subject today. Hopefully that sort of gives you a little bit of insight into what this is all about, and hopefully it gives you a bit of deeper knowledge in regards to strength development and how it may affect you. So I do hope you've enjoyed this episode today. Now, before we wrap up today, I just want to remind you that this week I'm currently enrolling for my 28-day Mountain Strong Ankle Challenge. And specifically, I'm looking for hikers who struggle with recurring ankle sprains or rolls on the trail, who struggle with ankle discomfort on longer days of hiking, or for hikers who are preparing for a particularly tough and rough trail and they want to give themselves the best chance of getting through that comfortably. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about this challenge and see if and how it may be right for you, what I'd like you to do is just shoot me an email to rowan@summitstrength.com.au. I'll leave that address in the show notes below, just with the words, tell me more. Now, from there, we can have a little bit of a chat and really dive into just seeing if this challenge will be right for you, if it will be right for your goals, your situation, and obviously your ankles as well. So if you want to find out a little bit more about the 28-day Mountain Strong Ankle Challenge, flick me an email to rowan@summitstrength.com.au and we can take it from there. So thank you very much for listening today. Hope you've enjoyed, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.